Magnificent Builder World. This is going to be a Star Wars stroke Stargrave build. Right, before I go any further, I need to say thank you. I need to say thank you to everybody who watched my last video. Because you've kind of like reinvigorated me and made me feel a lot better about what I was doing. I'd said I had a pretty ropey time the last little while, and it took me some time to produce that last video. But actually, I thought it was kind of fairly plain and straightforward because it was a scratch build, it was a pretty straightforward model compared to a lot of stuff I often do. But the response I got from a lot of people who left comments in the comments was really positive. You like the scratch build stuff. You're liking the fact it was just kind of like sci-fi thing. People like the way I do things and show you how stuff is done and go into quite a lot of depth. So that's kind of like made me feel a lot better about doing some more similar kind of things. Now, if you watch my videos in order as they kind of come out, I know that in the last video I said I was going to be doing a B&B Patreon build next, but actually that's going to wait purely because I've ordered some components for the model that's going to go into it, and I'm still waiting for them to arrive via the post, and when they're all arrived it'll be easier just to have the whole thing ready to go. So in the meantime, I thought I'd make something else for Star Wars or Stargrave. Like the last build that I'd already kind of started, I've made in the past 2 or 3 models for a sci-fi kind of setting, which originally I made for Star Wars Legion, I think, some time ago, and I think I'm going to make some more stuff to go with that. I was also encouraged not that long ago by somebody who suggested that I did some Star Wars stuff, but then used my Benfliot scenery that I made for Burrows and Badgers and just use it for Star Wars. Now, I can't really bring myself to do that. Some bits would work, but a lot of it really wouldn't. It's way too fantasy. But the islands and the walkways and the marshy, watery kind of stuff will work really well. Especially if you've seen like episode 3 or 4, I can't remember which one it is, of the first season of Mandalorian, where he goes to the planet where they've got the farmer types who are being attacked by the Klaatu kind of thuggy pirate kind of things with the ATST and stuff. Yeah, it kind of reminds me that not all of the Star Wars universe is kind of like gleaming science-y kind of sci-fi cities like Coruscant and the rest. A lot of it, Star Wars, is pretty cool because it's kind of like low-tech meets high-tech. Now, the thing about Star Wars is that you can get an awful lot of 3D printed stuff for Star Wars or Star Warsy games, or for Stargrave, come to that. And there's tons and tons of STLs available to print for Star Wars kind of planets. You could print STLs of buildings for Naboo, if you fancy that, especially if you want to do the you know, episodes 1, 2, 3. You certainly, I mean, there's so many STLs for Tatooine kind of planets and similar stuff like that. And that's great, and I'd quite like to do that. I wouldn't mind doing that, to be quite honest. I quite happily have a Tatooine set up and all the rest of it. But as I said before, one of the things I like about games like Star Wars or the Star Wars universe is it's a massive sandbox, and I like having my own kind of settings. So some time ago, I started making this kind of like temperate agricultural world kind of like set of buildings, which I'm going to carry on doing. I'm going to make a few more. And then I'm going to tie it in with the idea of the marshy stuff and the islands and the walkways and things like this. So this is one of the buildings I've made previously. This is one of the buildings I've made previously. It's an Adobe style building, so it's got flat roof, but it's not Tatooine thick kind of like Mexican or Egyptian looking or whatever else with domes. I wanted to avoid that. It's grey with earth tones and green flock on it, because that matches a lot of my boards and bits and pieces already. And I like this idea of a kind of like a temperate agricultural kind of world. That's actually what the landing pads and things were designed for as well, but I'm going to do more stuff with them because I've had some best bin ideas about that. Anyway, this one is designed so the roof lifts out, and there's well, there's virtually no detail inside. A double-sided door. It would be possible to put some detail in it, but on the whole, it just means you can put figures inside and all the rest of it. So I thought I'd have a go at making another one of those. So this is just a standard kind of dwelling. And this one, I kind of like, which has got a bit battered and needs a bit of repairing, is more of a kind of like a mechanics workshop. Again, the roof lifts out for a little room inside there. There's enough room in there to park a speeder of some description. And then out here, here's a kind of like a little work bay, landing pad, garagey kind of like thing. Apart from anything else, I can't remember where I found this, but there's a T16 Skyhopper. It's not full-on proper T16 Skyhopper because the actual real proper T16, this bit, the fin on the top should be way taller, but this one I came across ages ago, and I've added a tail landing foot to it, which is quite nice. So that kind of sits on there. So this is like a mechanics workshop, and this is kind of like a farmy kind of thing, and these two together make quite a nice outposty thing. But I thought what I'd do is I'd have a go at making another building like this, but with a shop front on it. So again, another roof, but an open shop front, maybe with a canopy on it. I mean, these are quite good. Look, I've actually started painting a Legion figure. Yeah, Stormtrooper. Fits on it quite nice. I mean, that's quite a good kind of scale. Look, stairs, proper stairs. No bloody use for putting figures on, but actually gives you a much better idea how that works. The nice thing about this model is, well, there's several nice things. I think it's a nice, neat little model. But it's made from 5mm foam core. That's all it is. It is literally 5mm foam core and some stuff from CAC boxes. Some of those Sci Fi doorways. I can't remember if that's a terrain crate one or a Maelstrom's Edge one. Another one in there. And just some other bits. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to scratch build a science fiction Adobe building. It's going to be a shop with an open front for my own Star Wars setting. I'll have to come up with a name for this place, aren't I, really? But that's the plan. That's what we're going to go for. First of all, what do I need to do? Right, I need hardboard, I need foam core, I need sharp knives, and I need glue, and I need a clean workspace. That is definitely it. Right, good stuff. Right, I'd like it pointed out, we're supposed to be having a bit of a wintry snap now. It's like the first week of March. But what do we get in Essex? It's just pissing down with rain. So if you can hear rain while I'm videoing this, that's what it is. This is a so-called wintry snap. Right, anyway, first step, have cut out base. Hardboardy base, which is a little over 10 inches long by just about 7 inches wide. Cut it down so it's a little bigger than that last one. Wow, similar kind of size really, I suppose. What I'm going to do is that will give me enough space to set it back. I'm going to have different dimensions. The staircase on this model is quite wide. I made it 2 inches wide. Well, of course, the bases on this are only about 30mm, so this one's going to have a narrower staircase on it, I think. But right, what do we need now? We need foam core. Do you want more? Sounds like a Linkin Park song. Right, okay, here we go. Can need a bit more than that, but you know, waste not, want not. So now at this point in some videos I would break out a sketchbook and show you the sketches of the model that I'm going to make, but I'm winging this. So I'm going to need foam core. I'm going to make it similar kind of dimensions to that model down there, heights wise and that kind of thing. What else am I going to need? I'm also going to need the doors. I'm going to need some doors to kind of work out where the doors are going to go in the model. Right, good. That is going to give me at least one long wall. Yes. that is what we're going to do. Hang on a minute. Right then, we need doors. It's time to go digging through the cack. Of course, if you watched the last video, you know that it's not much digging through the cack because most of these bits are organised. Let's go and find some Maelstrom's Edge door sprues. Good plan. Okay, so if you didn't watch my last video, shame on you. Although, if you didn't watch my last video, you wouldn't know about these things. This is a pair of sprues from, I think the actual company is called Maelstrom's Edge. The game is called Maelstrom's Edge. This is one of their sprues. This is kind of cool. This has got loads of sci-fi details on it, like grids and fans and, I don't know, whatever the hell that is. And some doorways and stuff. Quite neat. These are kind of like shanty doors and windows. Which I'm going to use, but not on this building. I might use the opposite off here. There's a kind of like power packing thing. And then they also do a kind of like a set of doors. This is what's left of one of the sprues. Big utility door here and a couple of others. Nice one with a window and lock on and that kind of thing. So I might use some of those. I've also got some doors from, I'm pretty sure, although I might be wrong, these, I think these are from Mantic Terrain Crate. So as I've used the Terrain Crate door on this one, which is kind of like angled, which is kind of cool, just for a laugh, and one of these on that. I thought I might use one of these rounded ones this time. They're double-sided, so that's pretty neat. So when I stick that in the model, it's going to be similar size. I'm going to cut that to fit in a wall, and I'm also then going to use one of these doors with a little window on the back to go into another part of the building as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work out the length of my back wall. I think what I'm going to do, as opposed to this model, which has got a door right in the front and then a venty thing on the wall there, I think I'm going to put the door actually on the side and have this as an open shop kind of front there. I think that's the plan. By the look of it, because it's some time since I made these models, the front wall and the back wall were just a rectangle. The end walls have got this kind of buttress, arched buttress, curved buttress cut into it, which I'm going to try and do again. And then the buttresses here, front and back, look more like they were cut out and stuck on separately. So that's what we're going to attempt to do. The wall is 3.5 inches tall to the top of the adobe bit. So, okay. Back wall first of all then. Going to go across most of the base. Well, I'm going to make it slightly shorter because I'd like to have a pile of stuff at one end. 8 inches including the 1 inch wide. Right. So that back wall section is going to be 6 inches. Oh, this is terrible. Look, this has been really bad. I've cut this randomly, just straight through that. So it's not even square. I've got to spend a moment levelling all this off. This is not going to be very interesting. Sharp blade for cutting your foam core. 5mm foam board. There it is, good stuff. Cardboard on the outside, polystyrene in the middle, cardboard on the other side. 12 quid for 4 sheets, A1 sheets at Hobbycraft. Not a big fan of Hobbycraft, but you know, they do the trick for this. So I want 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches tall wall, 6 inches long. So we're going to first of all. I'll do some measuring and do some cutting. See you in a minute. So I've cut my end wall. Can you see that? Just about. There we go. So I've cut an end wall, 6 inches across. Whoops. And now I need to cut in these curved bits. They'll give the building its shape. I measured it already. Essentially, I need to mark 1 inch on the side and 1 inch in. And these rulers are 1 inch wide, so that works perfect. On both sides, and I'm going to kind of form the curve I was always quite good at drawing curves when I was a kid in school. So I'm just going to go from this corner here, down to this corner here, in a nice smooth-ish rounded curve. We'll do the same over here. I suppose I could make a template for this, but where'd the fun in that be? There's one. Take my sharp knife and cut that out. Right, so I'm going to put a window on the end of this wall section, and I'm going to use these plate strap things from the Maelstrom's Edge sprue. But the nice thing about these is that you can cut them nice and easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm going to decide the window is going to be 4 of these 5 sections wide. So I'm going to cut this end panel off here. Actually, well, I might cut this end off because then it'll be kind of symmetrical and that'll suit my OCD bill. But then what I will do is make sure those end panels get put to one side because they're bound to be used real well later making the model. So I'm going to cut that off there. That's going to be the top and the bottom of the shop window. So they'll end up getting stuck on here. Alright, see that? Just about. Let's bring that up here. There we go. And then I think I'm going to use 3 to make the ends. So that'll be a fat one. So I'm going to chop off 2 bits of this. So somewhere else, either on this model or on another model somewhere, I'm going to be able to use those little plates. So they're not wasted. In that way there, I'm going to be able to frame this shop window quite nicely. I need to do a little bit of measuring, cut it out, stick those on. That'd be kind of cool. They will sit nicely in then inside the buttresses. They're going to go on the end. Just draw on those inch lines there, because then I know where the In fact, what I could do with doing in some ways is almost. Well, I don't need to. I know that they're going to be 5mm wide, so I could put a 5mm line here and a 5mm line there. Then I can line up where the window's going to go. And I quite like it only that height off the bottom. So I could draw that across there too. It's got to be lower than the top of the window's got to be lower than where the roof is going to go. And that looks like that's an inch there. So who thought it would be so mathematical doing this kind of stuff? Well, that's there. And then the floor of the roof is kind of going to be there. And I'm kind of guessing what 5mm looks like, but I'm getting quite good at this kind of thing now, so I'm just not bothering to measure. It's just giving me a rough idea where my window's going to go. Like that. So this is now in here, the wall, the section where the window's got to fit in. And I'm going to make it, doesn't matter if the top bit goes right on that line. If the top bit sits on that line, that gives me a definite place to measure from. And again, I'm going to do this mostly by eye. I'm not going to be too picky about the exact measurements. You know, it's hard to completely mess it up anyway. So, yeah, put a little mark there, a little mark there. This is giving me my guideline from where the window's going to go. So, put that on, put that in place. In fact, if I put that in place like that, I could slide that down there. And then the bottom of the window is going to be about there. And what the point, the bit I've got to cut out. There. here. Don't know yet what this shop is going to be, but it's going to be kind of cool. So then that's so just using the components rather than too much worrying about the rulers. The exact measurements. This then is the rectangle I'm going to cut out right here. Let's do that now. I'm going to stick those components on. That gives me my shop end. Let's see what that looks like. And then if I've got a stormtrooper, his knees come up to the counter. The counter's quite a good height. I didn't even see that. So if I take my stormtrooper, put my stormtrooper up against that, oh, that's going to be kind of cool. That'll be a decent height for the shop window. Right, using Yoo-hoo glue then to stick the plastic components on round the window. Oh my God, glue's got expensive recently. It's ridiculous. You know, I wonder what we could blame for that. Could we blame the pandemic? I don't know. Maybe we could blame a war in Ukraine. Or possibly we could blame Brexit. You know, hey-ho. Not that Brexit's had, apparently, according to some, any negative impact at all whatsoever. You know, apart from the fact it cost me a fortune to send things across Europe now, and some toys. I mean, there are definitely some things that a war in Ukraine has kind of like stopped. I can't buy miniatures from Russian toy companies anymore, which is a bit annoying. But hey ho, the price we must pay for the free West, all that shit. It's a sacrifice I'm prepared to make. But anyway, back to my point. Oh my God, glue's got expensive. I mean, like really, really freaking expensive for what it is. So I should use it sparingly. Now look, my measurements weren't entirely right. I've got a tiny bit of foam core because I did it all by eye on the inside there. I might let that go off, solidify, and take a scalpel to that and trim that off. And then I'm going to put a really thin cardboard strip around the inside of the window there. But I like that. That's going to be a cool shop end. We're going to think about a canopy to go on there, but that's be a nice alternative to the other building. Be kind of cool. This will then be on the street like that. Can you see that? Well, kind of, yeah. Well, it's going to go there like that. That'll be an end, and then the door, the entrance to this building, this house will be on the side. I kind of like that kind of like thing about sci-fi films where it's kind of sci-fi and modern, but it's also got a medieval feel as well. So shops won't necessarily be a shop inside, it would be a workshop inside, and the shop bit will be on the outside, so it's kind of neat. That look kind of cool. So, right, not doing that to the other end, although the other end could have a door in it, I suppose. No, let's just keep it solid. I'll worry about that in a minute. Right, what I need to do now is the long walls, which are actually just flat rectangles. And then these buttresses here, separate things. These buttresses here are separate. I'll cut them out separately, like out of inch strip. And this bit here. Then I'm going to make a staircase, which is basically cutting up loads and loads and loads of little rectangles of foam core. Right, one wall, other wall. I need another 3.5 inch bit of foam core. Here we go. Okay, so I've now cut out several walls and I've added doors from the various sprues I've got. So I've cut them out and fitted them, which is okay. So now I am stuck that to that, but I didn't stick the bottom. I'm going to stick these walls in place. So what I've done first of all is, this is the front door of the house, if you will. These maelstrom mesh doors aren't great detailed on the inside, but there is a little bit of detail, so there'll be enough to paint. So it's paint along the bottom. You could see here, because I've peeled this off, you could see what the solvent-based glue does to the inside of the polystyrene. Melts it a little bit, but the cardboard stays fine, so I can still stick that, you still get a good bond. And I'm going to stick that back on there. Lining up. The difficult bit there about this is making sure I get it relatively square so I can have the roof on. What's next? I have cut a wall section here, which is going to go up this bit. That's going to provide the back side of the main building of the room. Quickly run the glue down there. Quickly run the glue across the base. So this is going to be very, very similar to the building I've built already. Slightly different size, which is fine. The doors are going to be different, that kind of thing. So, windows. I've found on the Maelstrom's Edge sprue these kind of funky trapezoidal, these trapezium windows. And I've cut a bigger one here to go on this end of the house. Not that it's going to have the funky little frame on the inside, but it will have a cardboard frame, and I'll put something else in it. As opposed to this house, which has got rectangular windows. So now we're going to stick this wall on. This then forms the main structure of the building. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get an inch base in that doorway there. I did that, by the way. That's pretty cool. Right, so down the side, across the floor, la 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 la. Stick that on. Rock and roll. Having drawn loads of lines on the base actually is helping me get a much squarer model. I can see by eye all the various right angles. Might use a pin there just to hold that wall in place. Hold a pin, so stick a pin in to hold that wall in place as well. There we go. That pin will get covered by sand, you won't even know it's there. So what it does is just going to help hold the wall while it sticks in place. Same over here, these are just flat-headed dressmaking pins, which I use a lot when I'm working with foam core, because they could be decorative ends, but they basically hold the whole thing together as it sticks. Gives that tiny little bit of extra structure, because you're just sticking card to card, which doesn't give you a great bond. But now, this bit here, plan to stick on there like that. But what I've got now is a bloody massive staircase. Oh balls! I've measured my walls wrong. What I was aiming for. This model's got like a really wide staircase. It's like 2 inches wide, and of course most figures only got an inch wide base. So I was planning on having this one being an inch wide, but I got my mathematics back to front. Fucking nerk. And I think I've got a 3-inch wide staircase instead. Oh, bollocks. Right, okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, well done, me. So, I can either put in an extra little wall. I know what I do. This could almost be deliberate. Do you know what I should have done? Is I should have kept my face shut, and what I should have done was go, oh yeah, that's deliberate, and then add an inch there, and then a little bit of a kind of like cubby hole here. But I wasn't that clever, so I've admitted to my cock up. Now I'm going to make that better. We're going to make that better. That's fine, kids. Well, that's all good. So I'm going to take this scrap, I think, of foam core, or actually a bit over here. So, right, let's take that bit there. Derp. draw on my curve. Cut out my curve. I have the added bonus then of having 2 removable bits of roof on this model. You nook. And I'm going to have a... I'm going to make it 30mm wide staircase about there. Yeah, that'll be cool. And then this bit here is going to go on the end like that. And then there's going to be a little cupboardy bit. That could be like the toilet or something. That's the bathroom, yeah. This house on planet Zog, or whatever I'm going to call it, this one's going to have a nice little bathroom there. I could even put a little bathroom window in, couldn't I? Or an extractor fan. Yeah, it needs an extractor fan because of all the whiffy smells. And then stairs up the middle onto the adobe roof. What a bloody idiot. Okay, but it will make an interesting feature, and it'll make that building look different to the one that's over there. So yeah. And anyway, I know that there are people out there watching this video, or will be watching this video, who often say, "Oh, we like it when you make mistakes, because that way there we all feel better about our own kind of like inability to do this, frankly, and you know, better that way." So I hope you're appreciating my humanity here, folks, and the fact that I am just human and I've cocked it up completely. So right, however, like I said, got round it. I'm going to stick on another wall. Going to stick on the end wall here, which is cool. And then we're going to stick in this wall. Then I'm going to have to cut out a rectangle to form the toilet. How wide is that bit? This bit here is going to have to be what's that, about 1.25 inches. What a nerd. Right, okay, so that's the right height, isn't it? Yeah. Fortunately, I've got various bits of 3.5-inch tall foam core now that I could just chop up and add into. So here we go. 1.25 inches there. That's going to form that, I think. I don't know. Cut that as if I meant to in the first place, because that was the original design, of course. I can then take one of these cool extractor fans. Look at that. Look, as if it's made for the point. Take one of those fans off this awesome sprue from Maelstrom's Edge. Blimey, I should be on commission. Stick that in the toilet wall like that. Draw around it. Take a scalpel and cut around the inside of the line so that will fit neatly in there. Okay, talk quietly amongst yourselves while I do this, and you'll see it all stuck together in a moment. Okay then, so we're making pretty good progress. This is the following day. I've now got my main structure of the building. I've got my loo in place. I don't know whether I'm going to model a Star Wars toilet. I don't know what a toilet in Star Wars would look like. Now very briefly working on the staircase that's going to go up to the adobe roof, and I'm literally making this out of a stack of foam core. So each step is about 1/4 inch, 2 mils, maybe 3 or 4 mils wide. Stairs are always a challenge on wargaming models. Do you go for realistic look, or do you go for playability? So what I've done with this last model, it's kind of a bit of both. There's a bunch of steps, then there's a platform halfway up, then there's a bunch more steps onto the roof, which is what I'm going to do with this. And it's literally a case of cut ever decreasing lengths of the same thickness foam core, build up a set of stairs just here. That'll build up to here, and then I'm going to work out how the roof goes on. Then I've got to put buttresses on the ends. 1, 2 there, 2 at this end. Put the roof in it, and that's it. Oh, plus detail, more digging through the cack. Digging through the... Oh, not yet. Okay, sorry, my bad. So, staircase next mission. The foam core I've cut is about 32, 33 millimetres wide, a little bit bigger than the figure's base is, and I'm literally going to be cutting bits. I might actually put a back bit in here, but at the back of the staircase, and then that way there it's solid, and I can just ram bits up against it. Kind of like the plan. We'll see how it works out. Now I'm waiting for the staircase to dry. I'll show you that in a minute when I can handle it and not squish it all over the place. In the meantime, I've drawn on here a set of square. I don't know whether that shows up, to be honest. I'm hoping that's doing better than it actually looks there. If not, you have to take my word for it. A bunch of inch lines and squares at the top, which I'm now going to freeform arc curves onto, and these are going to be the buttresses to go on each end of the model. So I think I'll probably only need 5 of those, but let's give that a go. That'll really help give the model its overall shape as well, make it look even more like this. So I'm liking this kind of like buttressed kind of look. I don't know what these buildings will be made of on the planet, but they obviously need buttresses to help even the ground floor stand up properly. But the other cool thing they do, of course, is they offer cover for skirmish for figures to get in between. The toilet walls there going to offer plenty of cover, which is kind of neat. That will make for good photographs and good bits of game. So I like that. So sticking them on the end is going to be fine. So let's again take a pencil, hand draw our curves on, just corner to corner with a bit of a bow out there, and then I can cut those out, stick those on. To our other model, which is kind of neat. It's nice because they are similar but different, so they're going to line up on a street together or in a settlement. Clearly the same culture, the same architect, but slightly different, which is kind of neat. So that's kind of cool. Now here's the staircase, which is literally, as you can see, just a stack of cut up foam core. Staircases don't have to be complicated, but it's alright. And then that is going to drop into, or slot into, this gap here. I'm going to put glue on the bottom of it, hang on. Hoping that's just going to slide right in there, right back. Go on, you fiddly little so-and-so. And that's about a 3 or 4 mil, maybe 5 mil stair in each one. I'll put a bit of foam core at the back of it and just make sure I can squidge all my stairs up. And then this top stair then runs in line with where I've cut out here, which is where the floor is going to sit. Now the roof of this model, because I've accidentally made this back end section, it's going to have probably 2 separate bits of cut out roof. This bit here will be separate to this bit here, because it's going to be really fiddly to draw this exact shape, fit it in and be able to lift it out all the time. So this bit will lift off all in one go, and this bit I'll have it might be a bit like this roof where I've got a lift out middle section. Well, I could get my hands inside, we'll see. What I need to do effectively is put a lip around the inside here that will support the back wall and also support the roof section I'm going to lift out. So that's the next bit. Got to leave this for the moment for all the glue to go off to hold everything in place. Although I might cut a bit of foam core and just stick that on the back of the stairs there. That will work. Right, nice. That will help to support the roof over there. Okay. So I need to put all of this model aside for a while. There are various bits of glue that need to go off. Fortunately, the whole point of using solvent-based glue is it doesn't take very long for the glue to go off, so I can get on with the next bit of the project. But in the meantime, patience is a virtue. I'm going to wait for my staircase to dry out and for the buttresses to be firmly attached before I start to work out what on earth I'm going to do with the roof. Because that's now the key bit, and make the bit that's going to make the rest of this model playable or not is going to be the roof. So very important part, but nice otherwise. Coming on nicely. It's going to look pretty cool. Pew pew pew. You can see now that I've put in a strip. I've put in a strip here. I'm putting a strip over here and a little bit across the back wall here, which is going to support the roof. Oh, and one in the loo as well. I then cut 2 bits of foam core to fit in here, discovering that actually the whole thing is not particularly square, which is fine. And you'll see there's the odd gap, which is all right because texture-wise that will get covered up. And the other thing is that it's important it's not super tight fit, because then I won't be able to take it out easily. It will end up with things like this nub on the top that helps me remove this roof nice and easy. There'll be the odd scenery feature on this, so I could take that out nice and easily, and again on this side over here. So I've now cut this bit of roof, and that goes in there like that. And that's the main structure of the building done. I think I'm going to put a top trip step just on here to cover up this gap, because that bit isn't great. Either that, I might take out that top. Whoop. Might take out this top step and replace it with one that fits better. So this is the main structure of the building now complete. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's similar, here we go, to this one, but different, you know, a different configuration, similar kind of height, similar, clearly the same architect and building techniques, but different building. I have noticed that my staircase is a bit higgledy-piggledy. It clearly wasn't dry when I stuck it in, so now it's a bit kind of like all over the place and worn. By the time that's textured, that will look kind of neat actually. It will almost look like I did it on purpose, although I didn't. It's a bit of shoddy building making. Now the next thing I think, by looking at this model where I've got lights and control panels and stuff, I think that's gone on before I've textured it. So the next thing to do is I'm going to have to go digging through the cack. Yes, I am digging through the cack. Although you got to bear in mind that a lot of my science fiction digging through the cack is not too tricky, because apart from anything else, we're going to be using Maelstrom's Edge sprues like this one. For a lot of it, I am going to have to go and root out a few bits and pieces, but on the whole, there's a lot on there, control panels and other bits and pieces that work pretty well. So from that point of view, we're going to go digging through the cack. I'm going to bung a few details on the outside of this model, maybe put a couple inside, not much, because obviously most of what I want is space to put figures. Then we're going to texture it and paint it. On the whole, this has been quite a quick and easy build. This ain't going to be a very long video, he says, thinking that might be the case, but then might end up being the case. We'll have to see, won't we? But anyway, yeah, let's get on with it. Let's find some stuff, details, stick them on the outside of the model. Go! Have a quick look at this Maelstrom's Edge sprue. I have cut off these bits here already. They were the bits, if you remember, made the surround on the window. And there's a set of stairs missing. You can see that there are lots of kind of like vents and kind of comm screens and power units. My head's getting in the way there. So what we got? Yeah, you can see there. Look, we got power junction boxes, and there's a light there or two that will be kind of cool. And these are kind of windows with cloth hanging in them, and doorways there that can have these kind of rickety doors put in. I might do a slummy kind of dwelling somewhere else. I have zero idea what those things are supposed to be. Loads of grills and grids, that's quite nice. And then if you turn it over, we've got this kind of like powery thing there, and you can put two of them together and make some kind of power cylindry thing, so it's kind of cool. Yeah, and look, the backside details on there. This is a really nice bit of gear. You could do a lot with this, and I think you get, I seem to remember you get two sprues in the set when you order them, and you get two sprues of the doors and everything else when you order that sprue too. So it's the kind of thing that I've got, I'm going to use, and I will definitely be ordering some more. I know there are various bits and pieces you could 3D print and blah blah blah, but frankly you can get all of this for not very much, delivered to your front door. It's ace. So yeah, from that point of view, let's use some of these and stick them on this building. Okay, what we're next door's dog's barking. Next issue is the trim here around the inside of the window. It needs to be done with card. Look, I've cut out a few bits. I've got the light and the odd panel here, and I put light above this doorway here, and I've got a 3D printed barrel that you totally can't see. Hang on, there it is. Too much light. Amazing it. I do think daylight. It's all white on white on white here. There's a 3D printed barrel that I've stuck above the loo, because that's going to be the water for this container for this place, and that is going to be how we lift the toilet roof out. I haven't worked out how I'm going to lift this roof out yet. Still working on that. But in the meantime, I need to cut out some cardboard trim to go around this window, and cardboard trim to go around the shop window. Then the next thing is what I'm doing about the shop window as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. Right, so I'm doing pretty good now. I've got cardboard trim in my window, so that's going to be alright. And I've now got a thing on the roof, yep, which I'm hoping is going to be good enough for me to be able to lift that bit of roof out. And this water barrel here is going to be enough to lift that water barrel out. I've got cardboard trim in my windows here. I might end up putting something on the wall here, I don't know what. But I was thinking about this shop front window thing. And I had this brilliant idea. I know I said I didn't want to use loads of plastic components, but I have, of course, got the oh, fuck's sake, it's not the right one. Need the other sprue. I have, of course, got up here. Oh, here we go. I have, of course, got the Necromunda Marketplace, Zone Mortalis Marketplace, and I really fancied having a. It's in lots of the building scenes for Star Wars have canopies and things out hanging out of the front shop, and this is one of the wide ones there, and I thought it would be really cool if I put that over there. Unfortunately, it doesn't bloody fit, and even if it did, if I cut it down, it's still going to stick out over the end of the base. So I'm in two minds. Either I'll go with this, which is quite cool, trim it so I could just get it in. I'd probably only need to take off the little edgy bits, but then it might stick out too far over the base. I don't think it matters too much. It would be pretty neat if it was in there, I think. It'd be quite a cool thing to do. So either that or make my own, which is frankly a bit of a faff when I've got these cool things. So I'm going to give this a go. Let's have a fiddle with that. Well, with a bit of judicious trimming, I haven't had to move my buttresses much. There's a little bit splayed out. That fits over right, and it only hangs over the edge a little bit. So I've got to go with that, I think. It's pretty cool. That will give a really nice different kind of feel to that. Nice markety kind of thing. It's a really nice use of one component from that set. It's pretty good. And the nice thing about these Zone Mortalis things is they don't really don't scream, you know, 40k universe, Necromunda universe, as long as you don't use the kind of like Necromunda Helm War kind of things and some of the really obvious kind of skulls and 40k stuff. It's pretty good. So I like that as a thing. That's really neat. I'm going to stick that in there, and when that's textured, got sand all around it, that'll look really neat. I really like that. Yay! Okay, so house now, model now, details added. I've added some
paving stones out the front, just cut out of cardboard, stuck on underneath the staircase and underneath me awning. Although I'm going to do some probably at the back door. Got the odd kind of power unit pipey thing at the back. I've got my roof sorted out. The next thing I now need to do then is actually make it, texture it like the other one, and that's done with fine grained sand. This is kind of like coral sand with tiny little bits of shell in it as well. And I'm literally going to coat the entire outside of the model with glue, probably Mod Podge, paint it on, cover it in sand, happy days. I've added some small bits of slate from the garden because that matches the small bits of slate on that model. Whoop. And so it's all going to have the same kind of look and feel. It's going to be kind of cool. So next mission then, sand the model. Okay, so here is the model covered in sand. Stairs now, little less higgledy piggledy. Sand all round, not bad at all. Sanded on the inside, no texture on the inside. There's the canopy up, I would call it like that. And then the roof is all sanded. I've had to trim down these roof pieces, of course, because sand gets in the way. But that comes off, one bit there, and then this bit that comes off as well. That's pretty neat. So I'm going to leave this now to dry overnight. Sort of glue to go off because things like the glue underneath this piece of slate here hasn't gone off completely. That will just fall off, and the other places too. And then I'll spray undercoat this and paint it up to look like that one. And the interesting thing about this is that the sand I've used is a slightly coarser grade. The sand on the other one was pure sand. There's no bits of shell in it, whereas this is proper coral sand, so there's shell pieces in it as well. So it's got a slightly different texture, but apart from that, it's going to be quite neat. So I need to clear up some of the doors and things with a blade where I've got glue on it. I've got sand up, but I'll do that before I spray it. Okay, here we go. We are painting this model. Now the cool thing about, here it is, painting this thing is the fact that the rough texture and the fact that it's kind of going with all the others means it's mostly going to be done through dry brushing. And not even that dry brushing either. Standard kind of grey mix, so I'm going with a Citadel Mechanicus grey to start off with, and then it will get a Ministratum grey on top of that, and then there'll be some bleach bone or some kind of bony colour on it for extra highlights and that kind of thing. When I've done all the dry brushing, all the stonework, and I've got to make sure I've got to get around all the inside up here, I'll then worry about the detail in the doors and windows and that kind of thing. Oh, and the canopy on the shop front, that's going to be a nice colour feature. I think I'll actually do it in a red, a dark red or something else faded out, to add a bit of colour, because otherwise these models are all going to be very grey, which I tend to paint quite a lot. But what I'm trying to do is trying to make my Star Wars planet-y, habitation-y thingy look that much more, you know, I want it to be an outer rim planet. I want it to be a kind of like verdant agricultural kind of place, as opposed to arid and miserable like Tatooine. Right, we're part way into the painting process now, so most of the building is being dry brushed, right kind of colours. It's interesting how the difference in sand gives a different texture, but they're both, this is kind of like one of the original ones. This is coming along, but this is quite nice. I haven't really done much with the inside, it's just kind of grey, with a bit of dry brushing on there, but that's fine. Doesn't need masses of detail. Details, doors and window frames and things have been picked out in Morgoth's bone, and so is this kind of like power unit round the back. Nice red canopy over the market shop kind of thing. So I've got to do more detail, all the details on the doors and windows and things now, and then flock around the base and that kind of thing. Well, this is mostly there. This is turning out to look quite nice. I think alongside that one, it's going to look pretty good. Can't wait to get it on the table, in fact. See how it goes. Really, really ought to make an effort to actually paint some Star Wars figures, really. Yeah. Anybody want to paint some Star Wars figures for me? Anybody out there who's gagging to do a collaboration, you know. Magrathea, Builder of World scenery, and somebody else painting Magrathea, Builder of World Star Wars figures, because he can't be asked, that kind of thing. You know, that'd be good for exposure for you. That'll be the dogs shouting at the neighbours. Got new neighbours next door. Yeah, chewy and bark at ficking anything. Hey ho. Finished. Whoa, hey. Nice little sci-fi building shop. Open end here with shop front. Can have crates and things put in it. Removable roof. Deliberately left. He says not being able to remove it. Deliberately left the inside just kind of bare and blank. Put details in if you need to. Otherwise, just removing figures around in. A removable roof with water butt on the top. Over the clearly what I've designed as the Star Wars toilet, but as nobody goes to the loo in Star Wars, there's no loo in that corner. We have used a nice collection of Maelstrom's Edge, Games Workshop and junk pieces to add all the details. So I'm well pleased. So it's a 5mm foam core model covered in sand. This is about, it's kind of old school really, and although the sand is a slightly different texture, I think it's going to go quite nicely on a table alongside this sucker and a couple of other models. So in a moment we're going to go and do the put it on the table what it looks like. Unfortunately I haven't actually got any painted Star Wars figures to go with it yet. I've got like a half a painted Stormtrooper. Pew 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 pew. Notice all the laser bolts missing all over the place. But he looks kind of cool. And what else have I got? Oh yeah, over here I've got a land speeder that's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of a nice little model actually. I've got to hand it to him. It's quite nice. Even the bits to drop off. Bloody expensive. I mean, for what it is. I mean, there it is. I mean, I can't remember how much they retail at. The recommended retail price for these things is astronomical. Don't ever let anybody moan and complain about how expensive GW toys are. I mean, you know, a squad of Stormtroopers in this game, considering there's like 7 of them, I want a bunch of cardboard tat. You know, it costs more than a Necromunda gang, so from that point of view. Toy soldiers are expensive, kids, if you want to play. If you don't want to spend a load of money on toy soldiers, go and play a game like Burrows and Badgers, where you only need to buy like a dozen and you're sorted forever. Unless you're like me, when you buy the entire range. But, anyway, so, you know, land speeder outside. Kind of thing. So, having said that, now it's raining outside, the dogs are going to get wet, etc. Me done for this one. Another Star Wars building complete. I rather enjoyed it. I'm going to make some more. I've had a couple of ideas now. A couple of people make some suggestions for other Star Wars things. I think next for this collection of models is going to be, guess what? Go on, guess what? Yep, Magrathea, Builder of Cantinas, is going to have to make a cantina for this set of Star Wars terrain. In a similar style, but with, you know, possibly 2 levels, the bigger area, and kind of like pew pew pew, plenty of space, that kind of thing. So watch this space for that. What's coming up next? Well, actually, I might actually get a video done for something I've been doing for work.
you'll have to look out for that, because sometimes my work and my hobby kind of crosses over, which is pretty neat. Yes, actually one of the other things I've really got to crack on with is a Patreon build for Burrows and Badgers. So look out for that too. I've got to stop the video and go and let my dogs in the house. Bollocks. Where was I? Oh yes, in my epilogue bit. Patreon build. Yeah, got a Patreon build to do. It's going to be a Burrows and Badgers bank, which is going to be quite neat. It's the end of March, middle of March. We're crawling towards Salute. So, those of you who are viewers of this and you're in the UK and you're going to be at Salute, do make sure you come say hello at Salute. I am running a game with my campaign mob. Burrows and Badgers game, my Benfield table. The Benfield table will get its first official outing in the outside world at Salute 22 on the 22 Salute 23. Oh, I don't know, fifth Salute 50. It's the 50th Salute apparently. But yeah, so I'll be there at the XL with my mates and all my toys. So do make sure you come say hello. Apart from that, where are we? Oh yeah, must be time to say goodbye. So, if you have enjoyed watching this video, please make sure you give a a thumbs up down below, a like and that kind of thing. If this is the first of my videos you have watched, well done you. Thank you very much for watching. Click like and subscribe and that kind of stuff. Go back and watch other models. My last Star Wars build, for example, if you're here for the Star Wars. If you're just here for all of it, then cool, there's plenty to go back and watch from the past. And of course, if you would like to support this channel further, then you could consider signing up at patreon.com/Magathea Builder Worlds, and you too could be the person who eventually might get a piece of scenery made for you by me for free. Well, not for free, for the cost of a number of cups of coffee, but once a month it's not that much bad at all, is it really? So yes, again, thank you for tuning in. It's been a busy couple of months. For me in the real world, my life, my work, my job is kind of like getting exciting now. It's going to be kind of cool. So yeah, I'll tell you all about that another time. It's going to be really neat. If you're in education, if you're a teacher, primary school teacher especially, then you're really going to want to know what my news is. But in the meantime, thanks very much for watching. This has been a Magathea Builder of Worlds. I'll see you next time. Now I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow before I can go and get all the Star Wars stuff out and put it on a nice table and put kind of like little bits of scenery out and move the camera around and do all the sexy shots, but it'll be worth waiting for, so hang on. You won't have to wait until tomorrow. You can see it in about now.